So we're just gonna start from there. First off, when I saw this, I'm just gonna pretend like this is my first time reading, but I'll give you all of the milestone opinions that I had. I felt like at the end of the road, I found out that this was the very first comic this creator ever made. Like usually it takes a bit for them to get used to the Korean webtoon system and all that, but like if this was the first one she ever made, according to Min, then this is really impressive. So I went through it and I was like, oh, okay, so this kid, he seems like the kid who can't really defend against himself. And then I'm just like, oh my god, this is such a pretty eye. Such a well done, beautiful eye. And then I'm like, wait, he's getting raped? Like, what is with all these Korean webcomics and like rape is the only thing they think about? So yes, so according to your comic, that's the one thing I thought too. I was like, wait, it's like what, rape like the only thing we know how to like in other words, instead of making them really suffer, they make them suffer 1,000 times by just bringing in the rape tag. Yeah. So I'm reading through it, and then it confuses me. I'm just like, why is there a girl there? Like, it stopped me in my tracks. And I was just like, a girl? You're telling me a girl was okay with watching these guys do that to this poor kid? What type of school is this? So in other words, the bullying's really bad. And this poor kid, and he's so pretty too. Look at him. Yeah, look at him. And then you go down, and then and then he's just walking towards the pavement. And I'm just like, he's such a pretty kid. And such a pretty art style. And I kid you not, I laughed out loud when I saw this. Because yes, it's sad, but the way that they made it so dramatic, and then like the black, and then wham. Like, that's almost hilarious, and I felt bad for laughing, but then he says, I want to die after he gets hit by a car. So I'm like, okay, I thought it was an accident at first, but, like, if they had put it up first, I want to die, I feel like it would be less hilarious, because then it would seem like he's doing it on purpose. Either way, it was just like, this was a little bit late, okay? And then I scroll down, I'm just like, oh, okay, new main character. Or maybe this is the same kid, but no, it's an older, cooler main character who actually works hard. And I was thinking, okay, so their two minds are connected for some strange reason. Like, maybe they'll take over each other's bodies as time progresses, so they learn from each other, because this kid is so much more different than the black-haired kid. And then, and then scrolling down, I'm just like, oh, this kid is such a good person. He works hard. His dad was a douchebag. Like, and I took a screenshot of this one panel because I really connect to this. You know, like I had to do everything I could in order to survive. So it doesn't seem like this kid has normal academic skills or anything, so he'll just take any other odd job, and he knows how to fight. And it's just this one scene where he's just working hard. I'm just like, I like this main character. I like him more than the last one. He actually fights. So there was this thought in my head, like, okay, this is the main character. This is the guy who's going to like save the black-haired dude. Like see him in a coma or something like that, and he's gonna help him. And then later, I know you said you didn't like translation notes, but in another version of this comic, there was a translator note right there in where that blank is, and these kids are having fun, and he's like, that reminds me, it was my dream to go to school when I was younger. And the translator was like, who the fuck's dream is it to go to school? And I just thought that was very funny. I mean, sometimes it's bad translation, but that was a very well-placed comment. And then the moment I was like, hey, I really like this character. I think he's real cool, and look at that fashion sense. Have you ever noticed, like, even when they're a degenerate character, they have to look really fashionable in Korean webcomics and all that? It's a thing. Like, beauty is such a thing. And then right as I was into this character, like, wham! He gets hit by a truck too! And I almost thought it was the same truck. I had to go back and, like, tell myself, wait a minute, is that the same truck that hit that black-haired kid from just before? Is this truck driver just taking turns killing main characters? It's actually slightly different, that other truck, so no. And then I was like, what do you mean? Two characters died? Two of them? How many main characters are you gonna kill? And then he said, I want to live. So then when he woke up as like the black-haired kid, I was really impressed, because I was like, okay, now we're in it. Like this new main character who's strong is going to help this really soft main character who and then I realized it was a comedy from the way she was drawing. Like, this new main character is going to help this sucky main character be a better person. but I didn't realize that he actually died, which still really bothers me. Like, what do you mean you actually died? Anyways, I'll get to that later. So yeah, like, also this art style is really beautiful. Like, I like how large the lips are. That's just a thing I've noticed. It's just like this art style has really big lips and it's very beautiful on men. Like the anatomy is so good, and yes, they are so good at drawing hands, but it's not just that. I like their jaw structures too. I like their anatomy and their clothes. Anyways, at this point, Koreans can outdo a lot of us, okay? And I'm okay with it. And yes, it probably is something in the water. So this was when I realized this main character was totally different than the rest. He's like, play along with this irritating situation. Like, he's a mastermind, he thinks things through. And that's when I decided, because it usually takes me some chapters to get into something, that's when I decided it was actually worth it to keep reading. Or else I would not ever send this to you. So scrolling through, yes, he is a very pretty person. Scrolling through, and I just noticed, did you notice something? These adults don't care at all about this poor kid. Like I know the mom cares and all. The dad's a douchebag. Like, I wish they had talked more about him. He's just, yeah, I know yeah, I think he's a jerk. Anyways, blah, 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 blah. She's very supportive, but it almost feels like young people are all alone in this. I know comics don't represent actual. What if in Korea it really is like this? Like, the kids feel so alone because the parents don't understand, and if they were suicidal, no one would even notice. Anyways. Yeah, what's with that smile? Like, I can't get over that. That has never been explained. What's with that stupid smile, you jerk face? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I guess he's happy that his son's back, but anyways, I was a little bit iffed by it, that's all. So blah, blah, blah. Okay, the moment this person hugged him and said, welcome back, I'm like, you are the antagonist. I know you're the antagonist. Blah, blah, go by. You jerk. I know you're the antagonist. Don't you smile at this main character who almost killed him. Like, don't you smile at him. You just go down, you go down, you go down. And I'm just like, revealing yourself. Go down, go down. Also, if they're beautiful, you know they're a potential minor character. Such a jerkwad. This guy could not redeem himself whatsoever. Like, I thought he would, but he did not. He did not redeem himself whatsoever. Scroll down, scroll down. Although I will say, they look really beautiful, you know? And I like how the main character definitely fights for himself. Okay, the main character in the body of another main character. The eyes, man. And that's when I was like, who is he? Who is that? Okay, I'll stop putting my stupid fingers in the 2D world. Who is that? Who are you? The art style is so good, man. And then I thought, could like you and me color like this? Like, there should be a challenge where we try to color like Korean webtoons, because this is so good. Like, this is so good. And even his color palette, like the things that he wears fits with his skin tone. Do you not notice this? This is so good. Okay, and this one moment I'm just like, I had to write down on a piece of paper who people's names are. I couldn't remember Japanese names really well, so I definitely could not remember Korean names. So this just really confused me. I was like, what's the main character's name? What's the main character that died's name? What's this guy's name? What's anybody's name? Okay, blah, 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 scroll down. Okay, this is when I really connected, because I was like, hey, I have a jerk dad too. And then you go down, and it just seems like he's a smart kid. That's what I comprehended. He knows his dad's a jerk, but he works with what he's got. I like the main character a lot. I was actually really annoyed that he didn't get his body back. And I was annoyed that the black-haired kid didn't get his body back. Like, are you telling me they actually died? Like, that's not fair, because I really want this kid's body to be with the blonde dude when they grow up. Like, those little filters, those little teaser comics where, like, oh, what happens if they weren't separated? Like, that's what I wanted. I would have been okay with that. Like, I'm okay with the not switching body trope. I wanted them to just be together. Anyways, yeah, so blah, 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 blah. This little kid right here is so beautiful. And this anatomy, man, like, can you and I draw kid anatomy this well? And it's not like dumb Japanese shota or loli anatomy. It's like legitimate child anatomy. Yeah, it's just he's very cute, and but it's a serious situation. I'm just like, this main character is very strong, so beautiful. This is so cute. It's so much suffering. Those eyes are just don't bother. Okay, so at this point I was like, oh, are they boyfriends? Because I don't approve already. I like how this kid looks at them. You go through. Everybody's way too pretty. After we became dead to each other anyways, and I'm like, okay, so what is this about? Like, so you know him. Like, I can see how there's like a plot progression here. Like, maybe it was destiny to be put in the body of this kid so you can meet him again. But for what reason? I felt like maybe it was like a time lapse sort of thing. I'm going to school. Yeah, so it's his dream to go to school. So, like, in a weird Korean way, he's finally achieving his dreams. But in Japan, it's all about friendship. And in Korea, it's about reputation and like, meeting that one and only, supposedly. And, like, he's such an idiot. Like, stop talking. I wish he would just stop talking. Like, maybe I shouldn't mention this in front of, like, brother, but on the, like, why would you even mention this? If he truly has amnesia, you shouldn't be bringing this up. You're a bad brother. Go down. I mean, I know I'm just noting really obvious things, but God, is he an annoying person. And then I'm fine. Yeah, that's good. Scroll down, scroll down. I had actually wished this character actually had a little sister or a big sister, because that I felt that would have been interesting, because there was just too many boys at this point for me. Yeah, whatever. Exactly. So I was like, why is at least the main character smart and he's actually thinking like us? He's like, why is this brother so hostile? You know, like, I can understand sibling rivalry, but this is hostility. Like, he's actually trying to hurt him. And these bullies, I'm just like, you're the one. Like, you guys are the jerk faces who did this to him. And like the girls, I can't get over this. You like stop. People around him try to use him. Like, even the girls, what are the girls gaining from this? You know, like, what type of school is this? Plus, it seemed like, and then I had to screenshot this, like, it seemed like the school was okay with such bad people. If that's the case, this kid seems like a smart kid. Why was he placed in such a bad school? Has he told his mom and dad about this? And then I screenshotted this because this is so important. You must have been totally alone. So the main character contemplates, he's smart enough to contemplate what life this previous main character lived, and he could just see it in his head, and I felt that was so important. And I started to really like this main character more. And this was awesome! Blah, 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 blah. And this kid is weird, and his eyebrows, and like the backstory they gave for him didn't make any sense to me anyways. It wasn't all that interesting. He has green hair, so I don't care. Blah, 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 blah. Scroll through, scroll through. This teacher had the most biggest glasses I've ever seen. Go. Like, is it fate? No. We all know he was going to be in your classroom. Okay, so chapter 5. I'm trying to go through what was most important for me. So, yes, this name got me mixed up way too much throughout the entire comic. And then other people's names, just all the names. A beautiful eye, blah, blah, blah. This green-haired character just really confused me. I thought he was an antagonist at first because he was just so pushy. And then I wondered, why the heck would the blonde-haired character even hang out with the green-haired character? The green-haired character seems like a person the blonde-haired character would really hate. So I didn't really understand the dynamics there. He seemed like he was just a character to try to push the plot forward, and I felt he probably needed more help with that because his character just didn't seem to be compatible sometimes. And he's not that great of a person either. So you showed them you weren't a coward, but they'll come back. What then? I'm just like, why are you enjoying this? This is kind of weird. Yeah. Okay, and it's cool he knows how to fight. Real cool stuff. Yes, very nice. The seat, man. Oh, we must not think, don't worry about it. It's so, you could like, even if it's a 2D comic, you could just feel the tension from how creative they're making this comic, like, get out. This dude is like twice the size of anybody in this whole school. He's so foreign. This is what, like, sometimes for yaoi, I prefer the smaller one on top. So when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah. Oh yes. But okay, so this is the moment he's like, it's all right. And I was like, okay, so there's no way this kid knows. Like, one, it's supernatural to switch bodies, but there's no way this kid knows that, like, this guy was your previous best friend. He's not even the same person. Like, body switching isn't a thing in Korea, last time I checked. It's not even a superstitious thing in Korea. And this was the moment where I was like, oh my god, is this gonna be Killing Stalking again? Because this guy is creeping me out. He has fabulous hair, but he is creeping me out. This one scene. Yes. Okay, so, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Violence. I started to really not like him at first, the blonde-haired dude, because he applied so much violence to the main character without really truly knowing him. Like, yeah, he's been told that he's a slut, but, like, what, does he believe it just because he put his hand on his mouth and said it's alright? Like, that doesn't really warrant violence, in my opinion. So this was the moment where I was like, I'm sure this is meant to be romantic or almost, like, giddy, but I wasn't into it. I was like, you just finished punching him because you were interested. Like, I didn't really like him after this. And then he says you're filthy, insignificant, and have nothing in common with him. But that's when I contemplated, like... Oh, I had to write this name down. That's when I contemplated... Okay, that he really doesn't like people reminding him of his old childhood friend for some strange reason. Man, this is a good eye. I'm gonna point every single good eye to you. Like, what is with this violence? Stop! Yeah, I really didn't like this blonde dude at all. But then, like, the moment I was angry at the blonde dude, it switched to their childhood. And then I'm just like, you're so cute. Look at you. Oh, the little thumbs. You're so cute. They draw this comic so well. That's so well. Like, could any of us color this well? Oh my god, I can never color this well. Like, look at this, the wounds are healing and now they're all open again. And then I contemplated that he's a freaking sociopath, man. Like, this kid, or... I'm used to people hitting me. This kid here, total sociopath. Like, I felt like, oh, he was purposely hurting himself so he could get attention, something like that. But yeah, the blonde-haired kid. Yeah, that's right. And then, like, when he goes full-on possible psychopath, I'm like, oh no, there's so many psychopaths in Korean comics. Like, if the person who's in the romantic relationship isn't some sociopath or psychopath who's gonna do something crazy, then it's not Korean webcomic. I just like it that the main character actually taught him, like, great job, Tap. Like, you defended yourself, and then he's like, but you could actually kill someone with this. Thank God I found you in time. Like, that's a pretty good lesson. So even if I didn't like the blonde character, I was really enjoying the comments of the main character. And I was really hoping that he gets his body back. But once again, he doesn't, and I'm still salty about it. And yeah, he's a violent person. I personally take monster as a compliment. If I see you again, I'll show you what a real monster can do. Like, yes. That's what I'm talking about, dude. And then this, like, it's so horrific the way that they draw some of these comics. Like, that hand is going out of the panel. He's such a jerk. He's such a freaking, like, this dude is so weird. Blah, blah, scroll down, scroll down. Yes, so cool. This guy's too hot to be into the green-haired dude. It just didn't make any sense to me. Whatever. The personal space that he invades, whatever. So they're trying to build up the mysteriousness of blonde dude, which is interesting. But I really wish they got their two bodies back. Whatever. You scroll past it. This was adorable. Like, he's like, is this really the best they could do? This is too adorable. I don't even know how to react to this. So, like, this kid is so used to bullying that he's not even surprised by this. And he's so good. I didn't even know Rags could get that smelly. And he's so good at playing at their game that I just felt like, I love this main character. He's the coolest and the most, the worst teacher ever is this dude right here. The art style is so pretty. You scroll down, showing how athletic he is. So yeah, at this point, it's just developing how strong of a character he is sometimes, and how ruthless he is, and then they build up the fact that he's basically a mad dog, and I just think that's so important because I love the fact that he's a pretty boy and he's established like the reputation that he's an awful person, and I'm just like, that's hilarious. And then you see this dude, and he's gorgeous, but I'm conflicted about him at first. But at this point, he is very, like, have you noticed that this kid has a red tie? But this dude doesn't have to wear a red tie at all. So I was like, what is he? Like a waiter in this school? What's going on here? Who the heck is this kid? Does anybody study in this school? You go through, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, there's no way this blonde kid knows that that's him. How does he know? Unless he truly believes in superstition here. Like, how would he know? But he's really suspecting. And then what's really sad is, like, I wish the main character was smarter than this so that he didn't need so much tutoring, because he really is such an academic idiot. I was just surprised that the comic was actually going to make a romance between these two. I don't know why. I just was surprised. I didn't even think it was a romance comic. I just thought there was a lot of hot guys. So when they all of a sudden just switched towards the romance a lot, it just, I don't know, it just surprised me. Like, oh, we've gotten to the final boss already. And also the lines are really sketchy, so I was trying to figure out what brush she was using, but she kept switching between brushes, so at that point I didn't really know. They're so, like, I like how they draw 45-degree angles. It's just really pretty. And the lips. And this art style, man. It's the most intense studying ever. I just thought it was so cool. So cute. He doesn't know anything. He's so dumb. You act like a totally different person that's not used to this kind of environment. Someone who came from the bottom has nothing to lose. I just feel like he's just shooting in the dark because that's the only person he took the time to know or understand. So I was like, once again, there's no way you know. Yeah, I just love the thoughts in the main character. I'm just like, yeah, you fight him with your head and your brain of yours and stuff. A beautiful eye and stuff. He's still a jerk, you know? Like, I know he's supposed to be the one, but he's still a total jerk. Something about people and liking the jerks. But he's beautiful. And that look is what drives me insane. I still want him to be looking at the old version of him, the old body, not this small, scrawny, black-haired dude. The black-haired dude should fall in love with someone else. Why? Their bodies disappeared for real. I still can't get over this. Ah! Yeah, she's abusive, which kind of sucked. They never did talk about what happened to her. I guess she just died like that. She's crazy, and she has the same face as him. Why is it that every, like, seme character has a lavish, extremely lavish apartment? Like, even when they're not rich, like the chairman's son, they still have a lavish mansion. Always. I wanted this body. I thought it's so much better. They fit so much better, obviously. Whatever. Yeah, these translator comments were getting annoying. I actually completely ignored them. Maybe because I was like, I don't need them. But it's interesting that you notice them. Blah, blah, blah. I wish he got smarter. Because I want him to match his... I mean, he is as smart as him, but, like, I want him to match his academic prowess, too. That'd be nice. Yeah, so I didn't like all the previews they were putting on top either. I was like, that's literally spoiling it, please stop. But eventually they did stop doing it. Scrolling through. Okay, so in this chapter I was thinking, okay, so is this blonde dude actually going to be okay with sending out some precarious video for this kid? That's kind of awful. If that's true, that's what he's doing. I just feel like maybe I should try drawing like this. No, I don't want to. Okay, so this is where I got a little bit semi-annoyed with the main character, because he was pretty strong at first, but the moment the blonde character got introduced, the main character started acting more like an uke, like the stereotypical one that doesn't really think much for themselves. It just kind of accepts it. So I was getting a little bit annoyed with that, but then the action came in, and I was like, oh yeah, it's time to beat a whole bunch of people up. He needs to give him some personal space sometimes. Okay, so this one I was like, who appears to be uncaring is actually someone who can't ignore other people's mishaps. I'm like, okay, so you're the one person who actually sort of understands what might be going on. What would be funny is if his body got switched with somebody else. I thought that would be funny. Like, nobody is who they think they are, everybody is switched. Anyways, everybody has to go off of just personality alone. I think that'd be hilarious. And this is when I finally started to feel for this guy. I'm just like, you watched your friend die. You're like, maybe you're the one who picked him up and put him in the hospital and then you saw him die. So, like, I was like, okay, so you're depending on this person in front of you to be the one. Like, maybe he's just desperate at this point. This blonde kid is just desperate that he didn't lose his one and only childhood friend. Like, his body just transferred, so maybe that's more likely for him to be into it. I don't know. That's the best explanation I had. I just couldn't believe somebody would just immediately jump into his soul just got moved into another person. Like, you just believe that so fast? Blah, blah, blah. And then this is when I thought he was going to stick him in that room forever, like in Mystic Messenger, where Juman just sticks the main character in his room and never lets him go. Like, I thought it would be another version of killing Stalking, but that did not happen that way, which I'm very happy about. Is that not like a perfect depiction of the relationship? Like, the main character very nervous while the other character is just like idly stalking him in the background with a smile. That's not creepy at all. And then they make that deal, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't into it. Sometimes I'm sure I should be more into the romance, but I was more into like making sure I understood the childhood backstory. The childhood backstory was my favorite part. And so this is where it was like, okay, the mom defends the child a lot. So I feel like, okay, he grew up seeing that somebody did want to defend him, but they didn't have the strength. So he grew up really wanting to make sure that he had the strength to protect those that he loved. It made a lot of sense. And then he wanted to protect this child, and it's so cute to me. Look at him. They were so perfect. Still wanted his body back. It's so cute. Can't we stay together? No, we can't, because you're crazy. Keep going, keep going. I like how much they delve into how much the main character understands himself. Like, I just want us to be together because I like you. Blah, blah, blah. So you're special. It's just this kid here lost his childhood friend, the only special one. I started to feel emotion. I still like this main character more than anybody. His world is now so much connected to his childhood friend. And this lady, I assumed, got dumped by some dude, and now she's living in the slums, and she's putting it on her son, which is still so terrible. And that's when I contemplated, okay, so the blonde kid, had to watch his childhood friend defend him over and over again to the point where he got hurt. So that's why he cracked and maybe left home to try to be a better person. That's all I can think. That must be all I can. That's what I deduced. I like how they draw how big the tears are. There's no way that it's fine, right? Like, it's like a freaking movie when I'm watching here. Korean webcomics have really etched their way into having a certain type of atmosphere and a certain style and look that now I actually prefer Korean webcomics if I'm in the mood to like see full color and feel like it's a movie with a lot of drama. If I want to read lots of things about friendship and like a full-on story arc with a lot of tournaments, I'll read Japanese comics. And so their hands, man, they're so good at hands, but they're so creepy. And this made me so sad when she patted his head and then she abandoned him. Or you know what, forget about that. It's more like she ran away from an abusive situation, but she left her son behind so she could save herself. And that's just so sad. Also, I thought that was his butt at first when I first saw this, and I'm like, whoa, this kid's got one heck of a butt. Anyways, so yeah, it's just this dad wasn't redeemable whatsoever. It's such a shame. I mean, everybody else was redeemable. This comic I felt could have gone a lot longer because it could go into the backstory of him, could go into the backstory of like so many other people, because if they were so good at developing backstory for certain characters, I'd be okay with them explaining everything, because I was learning a lot about how they wanted to set up how the characters grew up this way. Giant tears. Giant tears. Yeah, so he felt abandoned. Like, I got thrown away. I felt so much for this kid. Oh, and then we go back to the old body. I'm not like, oh, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you were that into the relationship, but I wasn't that into it. Like, I'm okay with just looking through the plot. Okay, so I was in Denver, right? And when I saw this comic, it said Stab Rux Coffee to me. It's like my favorite coffee shop, Stab Rux. And they just slightly changed the Starbucks thing into an elephant. And when I saw this, I thought it was so funny, but I started to like read Starbucks, the real Starbucks, when I was going around Denver with my cousin as Stab Rux. And then when I saw Starbucks spelled with an R, I'm like, hey, they misspelled it. There's supposed to be a B there. Anyways, yes. So, inside story for you. Blah, blah, blah. Whole bunch of random romance. Okay. If this ain't us. Okay, so when they broke the fourth wall with like the girls being like, oh, all the hot guys are just gay, that made me laugh a lot. Did you say that you'll take everything that I give you? He got full on like, I want to be with you forever. Like, if this wasn't who you thought it was, would this not freak the heck out of anyone? Have you thought about that, kid? Like, if it wasn't for your childhood friend who is used to you, you would be in jail from the way that you're invading privacy. Have you not noticed that in a lot of Korean romance, a lot of what these people do, especially this person in the relationship, they break so many laws just to make them interested, or just to show them how much they're interested. Like, I'd kill someone for you. I'd jump off this building if not for you. Floating table right here. Like, it just... Is it necessary? I guess it's dramatic, but it's just... I noticed that's just... It's a thing. These girls. Yeah, so like... Fuck yes. Oh my god, did you see that just now? They say hot guys are all gay. Yep. Now, this comment about this comment about this kid right here. I know I should have read it, but I wasn't interested in reading it. But I did laugh at the "what are those" that he's wearing. I was not interested in this kid whatsoever. I don't understand why his hair color is this way and nobody's getting onto him like that. I don't know why he sounds like he just uses everybody as a toy. If he really uses everybody as a toy, then he should really play it off better than this. It's just... This makes no sense to me. I mean, this guy, I just feel bad he's into the green-haired guy. That wouldn't even make any sense to me. Why would you even defend him? He's such a jerk. Anyways, I just skipped through everything. Like, why would you be in... Anyways, I'll just skip through everything. Yeah, and I'm just like, wait a minute. You actually raped the black-haired dude, but now you have a crush on him? Like, you literally have a crush on him because he beat you up? That makes no sense to me. That's actually very strange writing, in my opinion. Okay. This is my favorite of all time. If Taemin and Woojin never got separated, this is exactly what I wanted. Like, these two tall kids who had a childhood together. One is like apathetic, working hard. The other one wishes he would look at him more. Like, this is what I've wanted the whole time, Lexi. So I did not want this small little episode to end at all. So I read it over and over again. And he's just like, I got a New Year's bonus because he's still working hard. And he's like, oh, he already understands because they grew up together, but you always eat stuff that I won't even call food. Blah, blah, blah. And then, are you annoyed that I told you to call me? Like, I think I looked this up. It meant like brother or somebody very close. I wanted to see the blonde dude's reaction, but it just ended at that. But yeah. Okay, going back to the old body, I felt like I was daydreaming that if he had his older body back, he would be on top and he would be on the bottom. Like, I would like it better that way, because I feel like his personality fits better on top. Whatever. Scroll through, scroll through. I just don't like how much the blonde dude's messing with him. Okay, now this scene right here, like, you know how they're so good at drawing backgrounds? I know in some Japanese comics, they actually get different drawers to draw. Somebody draws like the heads in a certain way, somebody draws the hands, somebody draws the backgrounds, but I know for sure for Korean webcomics it's very individualistic. So I looked it up. Like, I think like this person drew everything, she like colored everything, she drew, like, that's just amazing. Like, this is, he grew up to be really handsome. And then the yaoi hands go straight for that kid, man. You should never smile. Like, you should never smile innocently to the seme. Or else, bro, he's gonna, like, steal everything, including your virginity. I didn't understand why he's so into him all of a sudden. Okay, so my iPod ran out of power, so now I'm using my Google Pixel phone to be doing the rest. He's just, like, act cute. Like, with periods right afterwards, and I'm like, oh, these guys. Scroll down, scroll down. I think it's hilarious when... They're happy, meow. I just, it's pretty funny. I'm definitely like the extra episodes more than I do sometimes the ridiculous plot, because it's so manipulative and awful, but whatever. So yeah, what is taught in these chapters is that blue-haired dude doesn't have a freaking spine, and he uses people so he could feel a little bit more important himself, and it's just a really bad sign. It's good that he found confidence, but in the wrong crowd. It's like, I just really wanted this twin brother to redeem himself, which is, it's so much of a shame that it didn't happen. So you scroll through and you realize more and more schemes are happening. Blue-haired dude is just... at this point, I didn't even know what blue-haired dude did. Like, what do you mean you were trying to be clever? Like, and this was a really good cinematic scene to me, by the way. Like, this is when I realized just how creative you could be in some of these webcomics. I mean, you could be creative in any webcomic, but especially in this one, it kind of seemed like you were slowly scrolling down and seeing the shadow being made as the boy was walking by, so that was very clever for me. But yeah, I'm just like, what was the point of you having to, like, you wouldn't have to work this hard and you wouldn't have to scheme and lie so much if you had simply told your brother the truth. Not only that, but your brother was always the one to reach out and help you. And when the time came, like, when somebody told you, oh, you should be clever like a fox, like, you took that as permission to use your brother to be a scapegoat for your problems. Like, being clever as a fox doesn't mean letting someone else take the fall and you just waiting for when you're gonna get yours. And then you find out later he ripped up the letter. He ripped up the photograph that belonged to the pink-haired dude. How is that clever? That's just stupid. Okay, like, what the heck? They're all dumb and sociopaths. Dumb sociopaths. That doesn't even make any sense, anyways. Yeah, like, but good thing I met you here. It kept on bothering me that we couldn't talk properly back then. Like, what a good person. The more and more they introduce how good of a person the previous person was, I'm just like, what a shame that he actually ended up killing his brother, and he wasn't even sad about it afterwards. Like, you need to go to therapy explicitly. Like, get away from the good brother. And I actually thought it was a little bit unrealistic that the good brother was the one that was mature, because he had gotten so much praise in the past. But whatever, I just felt like it would have been kind of cool if it was the brother that had so much praise be bad like this. And the kid who didn't have as much praise and had to build up self-confidence a different way ended up being, like, the good one. You know, like, I felt like that would have made more sense. But whatever. Doesn't matter. He's such a jerk. Like, and the symbolism, you know, like he knows that everything he says to his brother is just making him into a worse and worse person. So if that's the case, you didn't even learn from your... At least I didn't see it. You didn't learn much from your decisions whatsoever. You just kept trying to hide everything and, like, blaming others for your problems. Happens every single time this twin brother talks. He reminds me of a Trump voter. Anyways, or some of those Trump voters. See, he's just like, he just makes some of us look bad when we have a scheme, but it always backfires. He always makes us look bad. Blah, blah, blah. But the art style is still great. Still fantastic. Yep. Just keeps reminding us that he got his brother raped and killed. Yep. And then, when the good brother actually
reached out and asked him for help, he didn't offer it. He just said, he just thought that was fun, that he could finally see his little brother on his knees begging for help. Like, when the time came and you got your revenge, but by the way, revenge for what? It didn't make any sense. Like, when the time came when you had caused that suffering for your brother and your brother asked you for help, you didn't help at all. Like, you had started the whole thing. Like, when does it stop? It never stopped. You're such an awful person. Which is why, just to get rid of this hatred, I had hoped that he would be redeemed, but no. And also, these outfits were so hilarious. My cousin Min was just like, actually in Korea and in a lot of Asian countries, having the same type of outfit is a thing to show couples, but I just thought they looked like they worked in the same, like, amusement park. That's what I saw when I looked at them. I was like, so, you guys, like, employees? Co-workers or something like that? Okay. So they're having a date that's real cute or something. I guess it's because I'm not impressed when people pay for my meals. It's just like, I could have paid for that, idiot. Okay, you go through, everybody knows what's going to happen. Plot will progress. And then I thought it was such a jerk move that the blonde-haired dude actually, like, semi-lied to the main character because he knew he was his childhood friend, but he, like, pretended like, oh, the deal's over, I guess you're not who I thought you were, just so the main character would finally, like, say it. Thought that was manipulative and a jerk thing to do, but whatever. Yeah, this stepmother. In other words, I guess I could complain for the rest of this comic that almost everybody was a jerk. Like, actually, I wish they had gotten more carefully into, like, the childhood that the blonde dude had to go through to be able to be someone else, because this stepmother definitely hated him, for sure. But all he did was kept smiling. That's so sad. You know, like, I wish all of this was childhood. And these twins, when it shows the childhood of these twins, like, all he does is smile, but all the twins did were smile too. Everything's so creepy. Okay, this was where I was like, oh my god. What? I thought this was the black-haired dude at first. I'm like, wait a minute. The real Min Soo-woon, yes, I know, I got that confused, is this kid. And I'm just like, wait, so you're, the main character is the successor? What? And then I realized later, okay, never mind, he's just another random person with black hair. And then another jerk thing that happened, he ends up being a total jerk, like, oh, my mother said this, blah 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 blah, you're gonna die anyways before me. And I'm just like, you know, it would have been great if that black-haired kid who knew he was going to die and had a terminal illness actually helped the blonde dude. Like, look, I know I'm not going to live for a long time, I just want to, like, be your friend. Like, that would have been cool, because that would have explained more why he was so successful. Like, you can't tell me that he had he would work so hard, had an abusive mother, worked so hard to, like, create this new alias. There's no way he could have done this all along. So it would have made more sense that he had a good friend. Even if his stepmother hated him, it would have made more sense to survive through it all, and even have, like, his childhood friend die in front of him, that he would have at least had one friend, like the one that he was replacing. But no, they hated him too. It's just a little bit unrealistic, that's all. But will you be able to handle it now, being thrown away? This is where it got annoying. I'm just like, now hold on a second, where's this insecurity coming from? You didn't need him before, why would you need him now? Come on. Scroll through. This is when I'm like, hooray, he's finally cracking, and I looked for a sweat drop and I didn't find it, and I'm like, okay. These yaoi, like, the moments when yaoi just really does its thing. And then there's these lame people who haven't really even been established that much as, like, people that he cares about their opinion for, and obviously, like, I can understand that he's giving advice, but this guy is just weird. Dang it, I really do like this comic, but now that I'm going through it again, all I can do is complain about these stupid characters. Lens flare. Okay, so they're really good at, like, doing the effects thing when necessary, like when it's blurred, when there's a lot of brightness. Like, where did they learn to do that? That's amazing. And this is her first comic. Okay, maybe not her first comic, but the first one she's published. I'm just like, how'd you guys just know how to do this? Sorry, I'm shaking my foot, so maybe, like, I'm also shaking the camera at the same time, whatever. He's so beautiful, man. So psychopathic. Look at those eyes. He's gonna kill anybody in this whole company. I wish whenever I had fights with family that I would just stare at them and give them that creepy smile. Some things just can't be fixed with creepy smiles. but they are sure good at fixing things with creepy smiles. Dude, the art style is just so gorgeous sometimes, you know? It's just so gorgeous. You could adopt the Korean art style, then I could see it all the time, Lexi. I noticed how instead of like red blush, they do like semi-orange blush. And I felt so sad. Even though I tried so hard to survive, I couldn't avoid dying. It's like he was given a second chance, but not really, because now it was almost like he was trying to live, like he was put to work to live someone else's life, which is really sad. And so the only character that truly knew him, or was dumb enough to truly like believe in such a story, was the blonde dude. And the blonde dude's kind of crazy anyways, but whatever. It confused me that he said, "Say my name," and I was like, well, your name isn't really yours, is it? I don't know. I don't get it. It took me a bit. I'm just like, so is your name really yours or what? Like, whose name are you really? Do you have an actual name? What's going on here? Someone is about to get assaulted, or mutually assaulted. This was a very beautiful scene for me. And then I noticed, like, okay, so his arms was around his neck, but then here his arms around his back, and I'm like, okay, wait, I think they made his arms bigger for the sake of this picture. Either way, it's a good picture, okay? I tried to not, I tried to get over the anatomy sometimes. So I thought it was funny that he would take away his phone in this instance and not think that the main character was gonna run around trying to figure out the plan and get himself in trouble. Like, you could at least leave a sticky note that's like, hey, please stay inside for just today, and then there's food in the refrigerator. No, like, you took his phone and you thought that would fix it. Of course he would have ran around causing trouble around town. Like, sorry, that's literally what he's good at doing. And then I love the fact that he brought the guy who was supposed to bring him. Like, he just beat him up and brought him in. Like, you can't do that. Like, but I brought him here just like you said. Oh, is that what you did? I like the humor of the main character. And this guy really seems like a jerk, but I'm honestly interested in him. I hope that the author creates like a backstory for him and maybe somebody for him to help him, maybe, because he's freaking crazy, man. Like, he reminds me of Sang-woo, but in a more like logical sense. Like, he doesn't get into trouble that he knows he can't beat anybody, so he runs away when he has to. At this point, we're getting towards the end. The ending was surely interesting, but disappointing because of this guy. This guy who like explains everything. Like, he's the schemer. He should freaking go to jail. I wish he had gone to jail. I had wished they showed panels of him going to jail, because everything that he did was so illegal. He literally was, what was it? Did he commit manslaughter? He committed indirect manslaughter. Anyways, and the truck driver. That truck driver needs to stop killing people too. And this guy, if you didn't read any of the words, wouldn't it seem like everyone is committing an illegal act here? Except for the main character, who is once again being dominated by something or another. Like, stop the madness, man. And then I love the fact that the pink-haired dude basically betrayed the blue-haired dude. Like, he had it coming. That's what you get. But I thought it was gonna be black and white. Like, oh, bad guys are bad guys no matter what. Thank God. And he just, like, he's so stupidly annoying. He's just, at the end, when he knows he's lost, he's just like, it's your fault. And then he just has this look of pure pity. Like, you're the one who told me to act like a fox, not a loser. That's all I did. No, you still acted like a loser while trying to claim to be a fox. It's just, ugh. And I'm really glad that the one who finally shut him up was the main character, because what's the point of us being in the point of view of this main character if he or she didn't make much of a difference? So I'm happy that this main character does make a difference. And I like that he's like, when did you start working together? I kind of wanted to know what he did to him. Did he just like smack him around and leave him for dead? I would have liked to have seen that. You don't think that I'm just going to give your whining and grubbing a pass, do you? What did he do? Like, at the end, I know, like, it showed, oh, everybody was having a lot of fun, but can we talk about the fact that maybe the twin brother is missing, and this twin brother, this main character still probably lives in the same house as that twin brother, so, like, I kind of wanted them to extend the prompt a little so I could figure out what had happened to everybody. Like, someone needs to go to jail, okay? Beautiful art style. Were you worried? What a jerk. I would have liked it for him to have not known, to have been really scared that maybe his childhood friend would not love him and he would be afraid of his emotions. But no, he's just overly confident, and that's the unrealistic thing for me. Whatever. Yeah, it's so cinematic. Like, he looks at the light and it reminds him of this scene where he can finally look back at this kid who told him, mother said, I'm not the one who's going to die, it's going to be you. And he's like, it doesn't matter, because in the end, this is all for him. I felt like that was kind of like a cop-out, but it shows how crazy this guy is and how obsessed he was. And which is why I kind of wanted to see, like, a branch of time from when he saw his best friend die and the best friend never realized he never truly abandoned him, like, to the point where he met him again in another body. Like, I would have liked to have seen those emotions, because heck, like, the kid seemed like all he was doing was living for the sake of waiting to meet his childhood friend again. I would have thought he would have killed himself. So that, I would have liked that to have been explained. People have amazing eyelashes in here. And yeah, like, I wanted even more of a backstory of how cruel she was to him, because it's so obvious he had to be such a strong person to be able to endure the bias that she had for him. Because, and let's talk about how jerk of a CEO his father is. Like, I'm sure nobody enjoyed that. It all goes back to daddy issues. You still eat without class like a beggar. Shut up. And then, like, this scene. And then what was really sad was they got cock blocked so many times, man. So many times. I'm sure we all wanted, like, at this point we went through all that drama to see them not do it. Honestly, I have been bamboozled. I've been shammed. But honestly, if I was drawing this comic, I too would not show the sex scenes. I don't have the strength. And she was like, oh, I got sick, which I totally understand. See, I wanted this kid, although that you should not wear that with this suit, but I really like this kid in his body. Although I might, it's so cliche, like, yeesh, it's not like I'm gonna bite him or anything. I know, although I might bite you. Where's it? I feel like he reads stupid novels just to get these small little comments in, like, ooh, this is the time. Like, he probably paid this guy just to hit him. Anyways, like, sometimes the main character just takes initiative sometimes. I still think he should be on top. These two would have been great. Why didn't it happen? Whatever. God, I'm trying to find all the side stories. You know what? I'm not into this green-haired dude. I cared nothing about him. I flipped through this so fast. I don't care. I still don't care. How many side stories? Okay, there we go. So yeah. No nipples. Go through it. Whoever... Yes, this was hilarious. Whoever he is, may he rest in peace. How scary. Well, guess what? It's the stupid green-haired character that makes no freaking sense why anybody would be friends with him. So this is where it really shattered my hopes that this happy ending connected to everybody getting their body back. Like, I had to finally comprehend that this black-haired boy, who was technically a good person who wanted to help his twin brother, actually committed suicide because of how miserable he was, and he wasn't telling his mother and father anything, which he should have. Everybody should have been telling everybody's parents and guardians, so all of this would stop. But then again, there's something about, like, adults not doing much in this comic or something. I don't know, it's weird. So the black-haired dude is dead, but surely they didn't show the second main character's body being completely cremated. Then they show it right here, and I'm like, oh my god, are you telling me I have to accept the fact that he worked so hard and lost his body, and that beautiful black-haired boy died? Like, he got raped and got hit. It's just like, I just couldn't believe that. That's so sad. And I don't think switching bodies really fixes that sadness, you know? Like, yeah, he got someone's body, but that black-haired boy will never get his life back because he died. It's just... That's a pretty eye. It's just... I don't think the romance really fixed the morals of the story. And I don't think the romance really explained how sad this world is. and I want to see someone go to jail. Anyways, yeah. Justice in a Korean manga, please. Anyways, yeah, so she's like, I just love the way she draws herself, like a polygon. So I think she says it somewhere in here that this was like her first one. Let's see, it started in a storytelling class during college. I began writing it for an assignment, and back then it wasn't a BL. Yet! The plot didn't change much, so I focused on the characters and explained the initial setup. So she'd been thinking about this for a bit, and oh my god, like, I would have been okay with characters that look like this. That's amazing. Yes. Okay, no, that's the jerk face one. Anyways, yes. At this point, I had already forgotten who this person was, but yes. So, when they were explaining the photograph, because I knew they were going to explain the photograph in here. I already looked carefully. I was like, they didn't show the photograph in the comic, so they had to have shown it in here. And it was this girl. And I think that this is good enough to show that we can have a backstory for the crazy pink-haired dude, because why not? You know, like, it's said in here that her suicide didn't affect him that much, but he kept a picture with him everywhere he went. And I felt like that meant that kind of affected him a bit. Don't you think? Although this comic was imperfect, it still received a lot of love and support, for which I am happy and grateful. I hope she starts creating a lot more than this, because I am very proud of what I read. So yeah.